Hello guys, welcome back to our video here on Bitcoin. Right now we're having some kind of pullback here, so let's jump into the shorter term price action. So this has been the pitchfork. We've been talking about the original, which I posted yesterday in my Telegram, so you can just click the link below if you're interested to join. So basically this has been one of my targets. I do believe once this chop is over and we're gonna start an impulsive move to the upside, this median line is acting as a target and as a magnet. So basically these median lines are acting as magnets as well. So as long as we can hold this low, there's an 8% probability we're gonna go up to this median line, and that's gonna be our next target. That's not gonna be the bull market top in my opinion, but that's gonna be of heavy resistance. So that's something you want to look for. Probably open a short here as a hedge, or just to pull some profits area to look basically to pay attention to. But for now we've been looking at the shift one, which we can see so far has been acting as perfect resistance here previously, which we shorted. And after the shift one, we've been looking at the modified shift, which has been our next target at around 68,500. Depending when we reach it, if it takes longer, we can see it's going to be around 69,000. So this target is exponential. We have to pay attention to. So it's important that you draw this pitchfork on your own chart so you can keep attention to what the exact price levels. Of course, I'll try to update you guys as much as possible. So let's jump here in on the 4 hour. Something I did discuss, that we've been having quite a steep uptrend here, and we said here that most likely we're going to get some chop here before we continue to the median line, or we're going to get a deeper correction and then go up higher. So let's try to find the bottom here on this uptrend. So something that I have been looking at is we have some kind of nice demand zone here. So when you see this price action moving sideways before an impulsive move to the upside, it's usually a sign, of course we cannot know, but just reading price action, it's usually a sign that there are big institutions or big players accumulating here, because they can just not open a buy order at market price, because that would make price skyrocket. So they have to fill their orders slowly but surely, and usually price goes up and then it tends to come down here, fill the rest of the orders before you take off. So that's the basic concept of demand zones and supply zones. So this, in my opinion, does look like a nice supply zone. And if we take here from this pivot we have down here that we made in the beginning of the month, so basically if we pull it up here, it also correlates very nicely with the 0.31 here, which we basically, I don't know if we almost hit it, we came very close to it. I think maybe on some exchange we have hit it. So right now we found some kind of support. So if in fact this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is something we can expect for maybe some more sideways. Usually fourth waves like to go sideways before we have another move to the upside, which is going to be around 68, 69,000, which I do expect this pitchfork is going to be very heavy resistance. So I wouldn't be surprised we get some pullback here, and then we can start talking about the original, which is higher up. But something I said, you want to pay attention to the modified shift first, just as we paid attention to the shift one. Most people got super bullish here, but then we had a big rejection. So you always want to trade both ways, especially if you're a trader like me and not an investor. You want to be hedged, so you want to try to basically short resistance and long support. So that's what I'm looking at right now for Bitcoin. If it would break the 0.31 here, then I would consider taking from the first wave as well. So you could use this as a zone. Basically you could look also at 62,200, what I'm looking at. But if we go on the original, we can also see right now that the 0.5 line here of this major pitchfork is also acting as a nice confluence here. I've been saying before, these other pitchfork lines, they are not something that you just blindly should trade off. The most important line that is used by algorithms is this median line, but you can add these lines as confluence on your chart. But personally, I wouldn't trade based off just because you see a line on the chart. That doesn't mean just open a long or open a short. So far it does look good in my opinion. Something else I wanted to discuss was this pitchfork we've been having for a very long time here, from the lows to the highs and to the recent lows. So this was a pitchfork, but we did discuss that most likely we're not gonna hit this median line up here, since we also have the modified shift here in the way if we come up here. So we can see here finally Bitcoin broke below the 0.5 line here. In my opinion, for us to do something like this, it's not going to happen. It needs a very impulsive move. So I do think this modified shift is going to be much stronger. So in my opinion, I'm going to remove this pitchfork for now. I'm not going to look at it anymore, because even though we have respected it and had a very strong uptrend, but we need to correct, in my opinion, which we're seeing right now, because this uptrend cannot just continue forever. A price likes to correct either in time, as I've been talking, or in price before the trend resumes. Right now I'm hoping we're just going to have some time correction here. What I don't love is that we have a lot of lows here below us, but I don't see too many liquidations here. So I wouldn't be surprised we'll come maybe one more push here, test the 0.31, and then start climbing to the upside. So that's an outlook for right now, but we want to trade this carefully because it's a market, guys. Anything can happen. We could also come down here and test this level here, this 0.31, which is sitting below us. So keep attention to both of the 0.31 fibs. They're very important to keep in mind. So that's the outlook for right now. Lastly, I wanted to share with you, because my last video, I want to thank you guys. I got a lot of support. A lot of people liked my analysis, which I had. So this basically our analysis has been, let me just hide this one here for 1 second, that I was talking about yesterday. This pitchfork here, so this is the major pitchfork we've been having here, that I've been talking about, that this is going to be my target here for the bull run at around 90,000. But I also mentioned, for people that are very bullish, I do think that it's possible you could also pull it from the COVID lows, basically the median line here. So this is another target I've been looking at. Let me just attach it. It's important that you attach the pitchfork correctly. So this is for those who are super bullish. It's possible that we can go up to this median line at around 132,000. But personally, I'll be paying very close attention to this, because this is how the pitchfork rules have worked in the past. You want to use the complete bear market lows, which we had previous bull markets. We can see how the median lines have been very respected, but the rules are very strict from the previous bear market, bull market, and then bear market. And you can see the median lines have usually predicted the top, because in my opinion, I do think there are big entities, some algorithms starting to sell once we hit the median line. And that has been our outlook again, that we already had one touch of the median line. Like we can see already, it has it has respected it perfectly. And right now I do think, like in 2013 that I showed here, we had two tops. I'm speculating that we're going to have the same here, this bull market, one more push to the upside. I know a few people question my pitchforks, and that's fine, but we can already see how they have worked. I got similar backlash here when we're up here at around 70,000. Most people were saying they're unsubscribing, unfollowing me, because Bitcoin is just going to go straight to 100K, and we can see how that played out. So what I'm just saying, guys, we have to be cautious here. Nobody can see the future. Just be cautious here. Once we come up to this median line, I'll be heavily considering taking profits. But as I said, I'm also looking at other things like Ethereum, like the stock market. So I will update you guys then. I can't not know for sure Bitcoin is going to top here 6 months from now. That's why I'm a trader. I check the charts every day, and I'll update you guys every day. So that's my outlook for right now. For now, I'm guessing the top will be 95,000, as I said, or it's going to be this higher target at around 135,000, basically this median line, depending when we reach it. So there's not an exact price target, it's exponential. But for those who really question me and think that we're gonna go much higher, I'm actually thought I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I'm actually giving away $5,000 if we can reach 100,000 before New Year's. So basically the 100,000, if we can mark New Year's here, January 1st. So if Bitcoin can come up all the way up here, where is 100,000? So here is 100,000 level. So if Bitcoin can come up to 100,000 before New Year's, I'll be giving away $5,000 to anybody that sign up to BTC exchange. I talked to them. I'm partnered with this exchange. One of the best exchanges in my opinion, says there's non KYC, so they're worldwide. You can use them. All you need to do is make a deposit and open a trade, and you need to use my link. It's going to be the first link down below in the description, also in the comment section. So all you need to do, basically sign up there, make a deposit, open a trade, and if Bitcoin reaches 100K, or basically closes above 100K before end of the year, I'll be giving $5,000 to everybody that has followed these rules right here. So I like to put my money where my mouth is, so I hope people that criticize my analysis, you can capitalize on it. Free money here from me, basically, if we're in fact gonna make this massive move to the upside, which I still believe. As I said, I think 100K is possible, but I don't think it's gonna happen so fast. Bitcoin needs some time, and something that I also really like to, that we pointed out earlier, is if we take from the lows here to the third wave and to the fourth wave, I really like the modify shift here on the log scale. So not the normal scale, but the log scale. And this gives us a very nice confluence at around March next year, which is going to be actually around exactly 100K. And if we draw a line here, we're now just speculating, guys. Let's draw a line here and we'll trend something like this. If we come here down on the normal scale, in my opinion, this looks like a very reasonable target. I think this could happen as well, but some people think we're gonna have 100K before basically this year, which I think is way too impulsive, is because we need to start checking the normal scale. Most people look at the log scale and see this doesn't look impulsive, but as soon as you come on the normal scale and you zoom in, you can see this is quite normal for me, normal target. So that's why I think somewhere next year is my guess. But as I said, I'm not in the business predicting time. I like to predict price, and for now we need to basically come above the modified shift, which we haven't yet done. And right now we can see Bitcoin dumping. So many people are talking about like the all-time highs are already a guarantee, but we need to remember, usually when the majority is expecting something, markets like to do the opposite of it. So as I've been talking about, we're still in a massive fourth wave, and fourth waves like to chop around. So I wouldn't be surprised if we still see chop before we go to the upside, bore out more traders, and then take off when everybody's least expecting it. So make sure you have apply risk when you trade this market, and don't get overly bullish. Always pull profits on the way, which I'm gonna do once we hit this median line here. So let's look at the dollar quickly. The dollar hasn't done much. We can see the dollar is actually green today. I think that's also causing pressure on crypto. As I'm been saying, this is one target for the dollar, but right now dollar is still above the 0.5 line here. So I'm not sure if we're gonna go to this median line. This would be very bullish for crypto if we did this, but dollar could continue to chop around, maybe even pull to the upside. And if we start breaking away from this line, the outer line here on the pitchfork, then this pitchfork will be most likely invalidated in my opinion. But so for now, I'm still looking potentially the dollar could come down here and test the median line if we get an impulsive move to the downside. Then we also check the stock market. Nothing much has changed on the stock market. We're still having this massive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're expecting heavy resistance at the minus 0.236, which gonna cause probably quite a bit volatility for Bitcoin, since the stock market and Bitcoin are heavily correlated. We can see algorithms, they buy at the 0.31 basically. So they buy here and then they sell at this fib up here. Usually we can see we're approaching this fib here. We haven't touched it exactly yet, but we were getting close to it. So we can see here, we need to pay attention to, since of course, those who follow me, you know that Bitcoin and stock market, we can see Bitcoin here are heavily correlated. So once the stock market is gonna reach this fib here, most likely stock market is gonna pull back a bit. I don't know how far we're gonna pull back, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin also pulls back a bit. So we need to put our eyes here on the stock market right now. I do think the next move, impulsive move higher Bitcoin is gonna have is when the stock market also goes higher. So we need just to be aware of that. So then also want to cover Ethereum here. A quick update on Ethereum. We're still having our next target for Ethereum at around 3,200, and then our macro target, which is around 5,000-6,000. For now, Ethereum is still up below the 0.5 line here on this pitchfork. Also, if you zoom in here on the 4 hour, I wanted to share with you again this pitchfork we had here on the 4 hour on Ethereum is basically from the lows here to the highs and then to the recent lows. Let me just attach it here. So we had this original that we're talking about. Right now, it doesn't look too promising for Ethereum to come up here. We have broken below the 0.5 line here of this pitchfork, but I'm still looking at this because we could do something like this and then had an impulsive move higher. But the main one is going to be this macro one at 3,200, which I do think is very, very possible for Ethereum to reach, since as long as we can break this level, these highs here, 2,800, there's no resistance here on the left, and we're very quickly gonna fly straight 3,200. So on Ethereum right now, I did have my long here open. So basically the long we had on Ethereum was from the second wave up to the third wave. We can see how beautiful the 0.31 acted as support. As you guys know on this channel, I like to be precise. I like to give you precise price targets, where to buy, where to sell. So if Ethereum comes down again, we can now adjust it when we made another high. The next support would be 2,580. But as I said, the market sometimes likes to break the 0.31, since we already tested it once. Even if we drop from these highs here, the market cannot always bounce from the 0.31s. At some point, it's going to have a deeper correction before we go higher. So I'm not too... This fib doesn't look too attractive to me. This would look more attractive if we take from the lows, come down to 2,545 on Ethereum. So far I'm not really touching Ethereum. I do think Ethereum needs some more sideways here before we can start talking about higher prices. For now, I think altcoins are much more attractive to me to trade than Ethereum. I did open some longs today on altcoins in the members group. So right now I don't have too big of an opinion on Ethereum. Basically, can add this big pitchfork again, other than once we break this 0.5 line here, I think it's gonna be game on no matter what Ethereum does now, and then we're gonna fly higher. So right now it's just noise here on Ethereum. Once we break this line here, it's gonna be very interesting price action for Ethereum. And I wanted to cover the Bitcoin liquidation map here. Lastly, we can see at around 72k there's a lot of liquidity above us. Below us we don't have too much liquidity. We do have below 50k, which in my opinion I don't think we're gonna go there, but we can see the most of the liquidity is to the upside. So right now I don't think it's gonna take too much power for Bitcoin to push to the upside. And once we take out here 71, 72k, I do think it's gonna push Bitcoin much higher, but we need to start taking out this high here at around 70k next, and then we can start flying. So far I like how it looks, most liquidity to the upside as I said, so nothing to worry about yet. Something else which I thought was very interesting, we can see here the global liquidity index compared to Bitcoin. So usually when the global liquidity has been going to the upside, we can see the price of Bitcoin. That's usually when the bull market starts. We can see the last bull market when the global liquidity went absolutely parabolic. We can see that that's when the Bitcoin bull market started. Right now the global liquidity has been in a downtrend here, but it has been very interesting to see Bitcoin actually going up while the global liquidity has been going down. So right now some people are speculating the global liquidity is perhaps breaking to the upside. So imagine what that will happen once this global liquidity changes trend. So once this downtrend gets broken and it starts trending to the upside, then probably Bitcoin is going to fly much higher. So very interesting chart here in my opinion. Especially we can see the strength of Bitcoin has gone up while the global liquidity has been going to the downside. Something else I want to discuss was the Bitcoin price after halving. So if we compare the previous bull markets, 2020, 2016, 2012, so we're still early here. If we compare the last two bull markets, we can see we're right on track here. Something that did make me maybe a bit more bullish, a bit more optimistic overall, we can see if we compare the price to the previous bull markets, we could still have some room to the upside. We have the 200,000 here, so but we can also pay attention to that each bull market. So basically we can see this one here, the last bull market has been lower than the previous bull market, and the previous bull market was lower than the bull market in 2012. So we can see the percentage wise the bull markets get lower and lower. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get maybe 130k, which would align with one of the pitchfork targets before we enter a bear market. I know a lot of people think we're gonna cross 200k. Probably that's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen within next year or between this cycle. As I said, I'm not that calling for these crazy targets, because I do think it's going to require a lot of money to Bitcoin to flip it to over 200k. Especially if we look at the Bitcoin market cap, Bitcoin is already sitting at 1.2 trillion. We can check it compared to other market caps. We can see gold is sitting number one asset here at 17 trillion market cap. Then we have Apple and Microsoft, and we can see Bitcoin is already on place 10. So for Bitcoin to go to 200k, it needs to basically flip most of this, and I think it's gonna have to be in the number 5 spot for Bitcoin to go to 200k. So for calling for Bitcoin 200k target as like it's nothing, we need to understand Bitcoin has a lot of companies to take out in size of market cap. Bitcoin, it has not a small market cap anymore like it used to do. Doesn't mean that we're not early. I do think we're early as an investor, but in this cycle we're not early anymore. To get 200k just like that in 1 year for Bitcoin is gonna take a lot of money, and that's not something we're gonna wish for Bitcoin to just start flipping silver and Amazon just like it would be nothing in just a short period of time. As I said, I do think 130k perhaps is possible this bull market, but I think it's more likely 120k, something like that. It is gonna be the top overall. But as I said, I'll keep you guys updated. Otherwise, I thank so much for watching. I thank you guys for all the positive comments last video. Please share your thoughts down below, and I'll see you again guys tomorrow.